This video is brought to you by DESTROYER1320.com and the all-new neutral strap cover. Looking to protect your Mopar and have a peace of mind when it's parked? Don't leave your car unprotected. Visit DESTROYER1320.com to get yours now.
Oh, God, we made it. We freaking made it to Tuesday, everybody. Thank you so much for joining Destroyer 1320 Live. Appreciate each and every one of you who tune in. We've already got people in the comments. We got Brett. We got CNC Auto. We got Projet Nitrous. I am going to do what I always do when I start this show and thank my members because you guys make this machine keep on working. Keep on going. Oh, here we go. One Low 5.0, Sublime GT 500, Mustang Mike 256, Dan IT Guy's wife, who may be in the studio, Silverback 69, Forshaken, Celevision Studios, TK's Garage, Big Chief 60, 815 LSX Swaps, E-Vapors, ZayTRD. Oh, man, was it way too funny. Sipping a Pimp. You got to check that out, just saying. Catfish Carl Banks and Polar Bear Ed's Garage, Matty SRT, Scavenger 1320, Mama-san, and Narcoleptic Customs. Wow, do we have a show tonight. We have my brother and his wife, Mr. and Miss Dan IT Guy. And they have a very, very interesting story about their move to Illinois from Arizona. Let me just say, you're going to want to watch this. You will not freaking believe what happened to them. It is unfreaking believable. Tim Windsor, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. Appreciate the support from everybody. Oh, all right. Now, just so you know, they are working on a so-so laptop. So if there's any interruptions, don't worry about it. We'll jump back in. We'll get right back to the story. But you have to pay attention to this. I'm going to go ahead and see if they're ready. Have them give me a nod. We'll pull them up, and we'll get into this thing. Are you guys ready? All right. Thumb up from Brr. Yo.
What's going on, brother?
How you guys doing today?
Well, the laptop's a little slow, but can you hear us okay?
I hear you pretty good. You're a little bit quiet, but you're good.
I can turn up my mic volume a little bit. Is that better?
Much better. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfecto. All right, guys. I'm going to pull you full screen and let you start ripping. But before that, I just wanted to say...
Come on, children.
Let's go. All right, here we go. I'm going to pull them full screen. You're going to want to see this. So please just check this out. If anything happens, like I said, I'll jump in. Here we go. Full screen. Go for it, brother.
All right. So basically, we decided to move back to Illinois from Arizona. A lot of it had to do with I missed one of my relatives' funerals, and it was a really important person in my life, and it destroyed me on the inside. And so we went back for another funeral for my brother's wife, and we ended up, while we were out there, we were talking about it, and we decided that we wanted to move back. We wanted to go back to Illinois and basically be around family and be around the people that probably need us, and try to help out as much as we can.
Yep.
So we ended up deciding, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go for it. And the one thing that was weird, we got a card in the mail. It was for one of those people that tries to buy your house. And so I ended up calling them and just seeing, well, what would they give us for the house? So we ended up figuring out that they'll give us what we really wanted for the house.
Like the exact number.
So we ended up, now we're like, okay, we got to figure out how we're going to buy the house in Illinois. So we ended up, when we went out for Maria's funeral,
Mhm.
we ended up looking at houses out here in Byron, Illinois, which is not far from Byron Dragway, which is where they have the power wheel standing competition every year. And it would be really cool to have that. And also I could have a garage and build a car. And there's a lot of things that kind of lined up, and we decided, okay, we need to do this. We need to figure out what we got to do to get this done. So I called back the investor and said, yeah, we're going to do this. And they said, no problem. They put all the paperwork forward and asked us for anything that they needed to know. And so we started the ball rolling on selling the house to the investors.
Sold our house in 12 hours.
12 hours. Pretty
That was the
crazy.
easy part.
Yeah. So we end up going to Illinois and looking at the house we're sitting in the garage of right now. Even though it looks like we're in the house, we're actually in the garage. And I decided I needed to call around and find a mover. So I went to like Angie's List or one of them, and I found a mover and called them, and they said, no problem. Here's everything's going to be fine. This is what we got to do. We had to figure out how many boxes we had and all that kind of stuff. Anybody who's done a move before that's a multi-state move knows it's not a fun deal. So my wife starts packing up the house, and she's a beast. She had to pack. What was it? How long did it take you? 2 weeks?
2 weeks to pack up the whole house.
She packs up the whole house in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I call Wells Fargo and our mortgage company, and I tell them I want to get another loan for this other house, and this is what's going on. And we gave them the whole story. So we end up going, getting everything set up and putting an offer in on this house. They end up accepting the offer, and we start the process.
Everything's right on track. Everything's good.
Everything's looking fine. So we go to, let's see. So it's about probably a month from when we're supposed to go. I call the movers. I get them set up.
What were they? American
Moving Plus.
American Moving Plus.
Which I can't say anything bad about because they are giving us a refund. But I will tell you what happened with them. So I'm sitting there thinking that I've got everything under control. Everything's great. We got the mortgages going. Everything's going. We got everything figured out. Everything's coming together. And the first little blip that we had was the our mortgage company calling us and saying, well, we got to figure out
our daughter's accounts.
Our daughter's accounts. So our daughters had their accounts under our account because they were obviously minors at the time, and we just never got them fully disconnected from us, and they're not real happy with us, so they weren't really talking to us at the time, which isn't a good thing. So we end up going to basically we disconnected one of the accounts because it was empty and she hadn't used it in a while, and we disconnected one of them. And then the other one, I ended up texting her and telling her we need to disconnect this account. It was a whole rigmarole. She took her sweet time, and we finally got her disconnected. But the mortgage is basically on track. Everything looks fine. I have 0 things that I have to send in, and we're all excited. We're ready to go.
Yeah, we're doing everything according to the plan. Everything's going great. It's all smooth. And then one thing that we had to keep in mind throughout this whole process is when you're following what the Lord wants you to do, somebody else is going to step in and try and mess things up for you because they don't want you to fulfill what the Lord wants you to do. So you have to keep the faith, and you have to laugh these things off as much as you can, because if you don't laugh it off, you're going to cry and become a little pile of mush, which we did sometimes.
There was a few times. So the first little hiccup that we had was the mortgage. We get closer to time to move, and I call the movers. They say everything's on track. Okay, we're good. And I'm just, trying to keep everything moving along. The old project manager in me, I got to keep things moving. Got to make sure everything's on track. So,
and the organizer in me, I've got every box packed and labeled. I've got my staging areas in the house, and we're ready to go. And to the point where we had emptied the refrigerator and given all of our food away. So we had no food in our house anymore. So it gets to be the day before we're supposed to have the truck show up and pack the house and load up the truck. So Dan gets a phone call from the moving company saying the moving truck backed out and they canceled, and they're trying to find a different truck to come and load everything up. So I have a panic attack, which I never do. And Dan has to calm me down. And
we're both freaking out, completely freaking out, because how do you get a hold of a mover and have them move you within a day?
Especially when it's across country. So it's not like we're moving across town, we're going across the country. So, for them to cancel out the day before, I was really hoping that instead of coming to Illinois, we could go down to their offices in Florida and just pay them a little visit. But we decided that wouldn't be in our best interest.
Yeah,
so we decided not to do that.
I didn't want to have to be bailed out of jail. We'll just say that. So the moving company keeps basically stringing us along, saying, "Oh, well, we're trying to get somebody out there. We're trying to do this and we're trying to do that." And then finally, I get a call from them, and I'm like, "Okay, so when is this going to happen?" And she says, "Well, I can get it we can do this next Tuesday." And I'm like, "Okay, maybe you don't understand here. I have to move everything that's in my house to Byron. And when we get there, we have to sign papers. There's a whole process that's already laid out, and that's screwing up that whole process." So I'm like, "No, this is not going to work." And basically, I didn't slam the phone down, but I hung up on her, and I went to Tracy and I said, "We got to figure something out."
So they call back the next morning, the day that they're supposed to be at our house loading up the truck. And they wake us up, and I wasn't all that pleased. Let's just say that. And I kind of let the woman have it a little bit. Not one of my finer moments, but I felt better afterwards. So it was good.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do,
Sometimes you do, So we basically hang up from her and we call Penske. So I call Penske, I reserve a truck, a 26-foot truck, and the lady was very accommodating with me from Penske, told us we could go and pick it up that morning. Everything's good. So then I start calling movers because we have a lot of heavy furniture. So I didn't want us to have to load that up into a truck or anything. So we call.
You call. Uh-oh. I know right now. Here's what they're doing. Here's exactly what they're doing.
Fuck me.
No.
And we're back.
Okay. And we're back, everybody.
Yeah, they're slapping.
Oh, no more Yankee, my wanky.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, guys.
So we called this moving company. They were awesome. They texted me and said, "We'll be there within an hour." So I basically said to Dan, throw some pants on, let's go get the truck. And we got to go pick everything up, make sure everything's good. So we get the truck picked up. That's where Dan has another issue.
So Penske, we're like, oh, thank God we can get a truck. You know, it's going to suck that we're going to have to put all of our stuff on the truck, but we'll figure it out. So you had gotten a hold of the movers, and they said, we'll come over. We'll be there in an hour.
Yep.
So we both look at each other. We're like, okay, we need to go get a truck right now. So we went over to Penske and picked up the truck. And when I went to pick the truck up, we were going to get the truck and a trailer so that we could put one car on the trailer. I could drive the truck. She could drive her car. And then we would, have all of our stuff when we got out there. So I get to Penske and I am talking to the guy, and, he's nice guy and everything. And I go out to the truck. We go and we inspect the truck. Everything looks okay. It's not completely full. It's got 3/4 of a tank of gas, which, no big deal. It's diesel, of course. And as I'm walking around, I noticed that there's a DEF tank. And I asked the guy, I said, have you checked the DEF tank? He looks at the dash. There's no DEF in this thing. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I'm a little, I'm, at this point, I'm like frustrated. I'm trying not to be an asshole to this guy because he's just basically running us the truck. He has no control over what the last people did. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to let this go. We go in the building and I sign all the papers and I get every insurance you can possibly get on this truck. I'm like,
thank God.
I want everything. I want, if it's an insurance and it costs money, I want it. So we get the insurance on the truck, and I go out to the truck and I go to drive it away. And we had decided before Tracy left, we're going to leave the trailer here. We're going to get the truck loaded. Once we get the truck loaded, we're going to come back and pick up the trailer and drive the truck and the trailer out to where we got to go. So I get in the truck, and it won't do more than 10 miles an hour, of course, because there's no DEF in it. So I didn't even make it all the way to the end of the parking lot. I stopped the truck. I walked back in, and I said, there's no DEF in the truck, and it won't move. It only will do 10 miles an hour. And he said, well, here's what we can do. You take it over to the other Penske. Okay, the other Penske is in Tempe. It's a half an hour away if your truck's doing 45 to 55 miles an hour. It's a half hour away. And I'm like, this thing's doing 10 miles an hour. What am I supposed to do here? There's no way. And finally, he's like, okay, so what you can do is you can go to like AutoZone, buy some DEF, and when you get done, they'll credit you for the DEF. So I'm like, fine. So at this time, the guys start calling Tracy for, the movers start calling Tracy because they're at the house and they're ready to go. So she says, well, I'm going to run to the house and I'm going to take care of them. And you go ahead and just, do what you got to do with the truck. She didn't really, I didn't tell her all the DEF story and everything because I'm like, we're stressed out enough. She doesn't need to hear about it yet.
And I would have just laughed.
Because it was, you know how it is. It's an issue. And I'm like, I'm just going to try and get it taken care of as quickly as possible and pretend it never happened. So I'm putting along. I went 6 miles and it took almost an hour to get 6 miles. And people are just absolutely like,
losing their minds,
passing me and like trying to run me off the road. And I'm just like, come on, people, give me a break here. There's nothing I can do. So I get to AutoZone. I walk in. I had called ahead and said, do you guys have DEF? Of course they had DEF, which is good. And they had two kinds. They had the blue DEF and then they had AutoZone cheapy DEF. So I got two of the cheapies and I start to proceed to fill the DEF tank. And I don't know if anyone's ever done this before, but it takes forever to fill this tank. And I ended up, I put one tank, I put one of the containers in because it actually takes two containers. I put one container in, I get it all the way in. It took probably 20 minutes to get this thing to finally get all done. And Tracy's calling me going, where are you at? What's going on? And then finally I have to tell her, this is what's going on. This is where I'm at. This is what it's, and I'm just like, as soon as I get this stuff in there, then we'll be able to, move forward. Everything is going to be fine. So I get the DEF in there and get the truck finally out of the 10-mile-an-hour mode and drive to our house. I get to our house, I back the truck in, and the guys start loading the truck.
And mind you, I've been giving them a tour of the house, showing them what everything that needs.
And we're back. No, sorry, they're still
Yes.
dealing with issues with their internet. So
I got it again. Sorry.
All right, you got it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens.
So
I will be
right,
getting a
sorry.
better laptop, by the way.
You're good. You're good.
It's a
Ready?
little bit
Go ahead.
ridiculous.
Continue.
all right. So I show the guys all the stuff that needs to be packed up. They start taking things apart. And then they send me to U-Haul so that I can get blankets and the plastic wrap and all the supplies. So I come back and they're still packing everything up. And by this time, Dan gets back with the truck. So we start loading everything. And this moving company was awesome. They were incredible. So they send me out again for supplies and they start talking to Dan.
So while she's gone, I'm talking to the moving guys and they're like, man, that sucks. Those guys pulled out on you like that. And they left you all high and dry. And the head guy comes over to me and he says, we can drive the trucks out there if you'd like. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we'll drive the truck out there, and then you can, put us on a plane or whatever and fly us back and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, dude, that would be so incredibly awesome if you guys could do that. And I'm like, well, how much is it going to cost? So he tells me, this is approximately what it's going to be. And it was way cheaper, needless to say, than the other company that I had originally tried to get to do it. And I didn't have to, the other company, I put $6,000 down, and thankfully I had read the fine print on the contract, and it said in there that you had to basically we had called in, the day before they were supposed to show up, and told them, okay, we know how many boxes approximately we have now. We know what furniture is going, what furniture isn't. In the meantime, we had given away, good Lord,
I don't know how many trips I made to Goodwill.
there was probably
7 or 8.
Yeah,
A lot.
yeah, a lot. We
Filled up
gave
the back of
away-
my Sorrento a lot of times.
Yes, we gave away a lot of stuff. So we end up, where was I?
You lose your place.
I lost my place.
So anyways, he reads the fine print of this thing,
Yeah.
and it says basically that if you cancel within
48
48 hours of signing the final contract, that they will give you a full refund. So it just so happened that we canceled just shy of 48 hours. So it was like 37 hours or something, I think.
So basically, you had to send them an email and then you had to call them. So I sent them the email, called them and said, you guys can't do this, so we need our money back. And they said, hey, yep, no problem. We'll give you your money back. It's going to be 2 or 3 weeks before we can get the money back to you. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Just cancel it and give us our money back. So we get the movers lined out on what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to, I think there was 3 of them, right?
Yeah, there were 3 of them.
So there's 3 of them. We figured out we're going to get your hotels. We're going to pay for your meals, whatever. We're going to pay for gas or diesel or whatever, and get us out there. So we finished packing up this 26-foot truck and figure out that the 26-foot truck's not big enough for all of our stuff.
Well,
we
it didn't fit your hammerhead. So
Well, I have a go-kart, a big go-kart that I'm like, I'm not leaving without it. It's a dune buggy basically. But
Yeah.
so we figure out, okay, so I end up calling Penske again and I say, okay, so we need another truck.
cancel the trailer. We need another truck.
Cancel the trailer because we've found somebody to drive the truck. And they're like, okay, well, we got to make sure that you put those people down as drivers, blah, blah, blah. So fine. Yep. No problem. So I get up that night, we were going to spend the night over at Eric's house, at Destroyer's house. So
that was the best part of the trip, by the way.
Yes.
We got breakfast in the morning. We got to go home. We got to go back to his house, go swimming, hang out with Nitro, the puppy, and get up the next morning and have breakfast. It was awesome. That was the best part of the trip.
So
Now we're talking.
oh, sorry. No problem. Go ahead. So Eric and I go back over to the house, and I forgot some. I think our chargers.
You
or
forgot
something.
your smokes.
Yeah, my smokes. That's right. So I end up going in the house. On the way back out, I drop my phone. It hits the edge of the the plate, the sill plate where you walk out, and it puts a little, like a line. There's a single line going across. I'm like, oh, thank God it didn't shatter it. It didn't mess it up or nothing. I'm like, good. All right. Thank God. So I get in the car. We drive back to Eric's house. The minute I open my phone the next time, it's flickering and you can't read anything. And I'm like, this is not good. Everyone that I've called on my phone. I now have no contacts. I have no nothing. I can't use my phone. And we have to try to figure out how to use Tracy's phone to call all these people and get the movers to come back out and call Penske. And everything is like, okay, what are we going to do? So I figure out, okay, we got to go get the 16-foot truck tomorrow anyway. I'll go to T-Mobile. Once we get them the truck, they'll drive to the house and they'll start filling the truck while I go to T-Mobile and get another phone. So I end up getting I wanted the S21 Ultra and I was waiting for it, but now I have to buy a phone. So I buy the S21 Plus, it's not a great phone. I'm probably going to trade it in and get an Ultra at some point. But anyway.
I mean, it's really good that he went over and got his phone. However, he kept the keys to the 26-foot truck and the 16-foot truck in his pocket.
No, they had the 16-foot truck keys because they drove it back to the house.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So we couldn't
with the 26-foot truck in the driveway.
This 26-foot truck was parked in front of the driveway, so we couldn't do anything.
Book me.
Yes, exactly. So I go to T-Mobile and I'm like, let's move this along. People, there's like 3 people in front of me, and there's these old people that they have no idea what to do with anything, and I'm trying to help them just so I can get them out of the way so I can get my phone and get everything. So I finally get my phone, and the guy who's there is not real bright about the phones. And I tell him that I need to put my SIM card in there so that I have all my contacts and all my stuff. And I end up finally getting as much of it as I can working. I call her and tell her, hey, I finally have a phone, so this is what's going on. So I jump in the car, haul back to the house, and she's like, yeah, you have the keys for the 26-foot truck, so we can't do anything until you get back. And I'm like, oh, God. So we get back to the house. I move the 26-foot truck down the road. We get the 16-foot truck backed up. We get everything loaded finally, and everyone's kind of saying their goodbyes and hellos and all that. And the owner of the company wanted to bring his wife with him, which I had no problem with whatsoever.
And that was awesome because I had one more chick with me on the trip instead of all that testosterone. So another chick on the trick, very welcome.
Yeah. So we end up go ahead.
Pause right there real quick. Sorry, we got our first super chat of the night. You know how it goes. I appreciate that so much. Super sticker, $20. I want to send a check to these guys for this crap they've been through, and I'll give you this one. Here you go. Thank you so much. This is truly
Thank you.
for their pain. Anybody who's watching this,
Yes.
just yes, you're gonna want to pay attention because it's just starting to get good. Okay, just trust me on this. Bring it back up. Thank you, Justin, so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, man. That's huge. Thank you, buddy. Go ahead.
Thanks, dude. So we get in the we get it. We all get in the trucks and we start driving to. Well, we go through the mountains. I don't know anybody.
Well, I had said to Dan that morning, I don't want to be the leader. I don't want to lead. So you can lead or the truck can lead. Somebody else lead because I don't want to be the leader. So Dan comes up about 5 minutes before we leave and he said, you're the only one who knows the back way up to I-40. So you're going to lead. So I'm like,
well,
fantastic.
more than anything, your car has more power than mine,
True.
and yours will make the hills. Mine probably won't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we need somebody up ahead that can, because these trucks are absolutely packed.
Loaded down.
We probably couldn't have put a pretzel in the back of the truck. So we start hauling through the mountains, and I'm watching it's Tracy and then the 26-foot truck and then me and then the 16-foot trucks behind me, and we're all kind of watching each other. And so Tracy's going through the curves and the guy in the 26-foot truck is trying to follow her and about loses it like 3 or 4 times. And I'm just going, oh my God, please don't go off the mountain. So, thank God. Of course, we go up these hills. The hills, I think that thing would do maybe 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, you guys were way
Maybe.
back. You guys kept falling way back.
And then it would go down the hill. We'd catch up, and then we'd go up a hill, and then it was 15 miles an hour again. And we're like, oh my God, just get us there, please.
So, what should have been an 8-hour trip from Phoenix to Las Vegas, New Mexico. Not quite Las Vegas.
Fabulous. You got to make sure you say
It's the
fabulous. Fabulous Las Vegas, New Mexico. Yeah, it's great.
It's not quite Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's just say that. So it should have been an 8-hour trip, but with a 26-foot truck loaded down with everything we own. And then, every time we stopped, it was a half an hour stop every single time. Like every time.
Because you got to fill up the 26-foot truck.
Yeah.
You got to fill up the 16-foot truck. Everybody's got to go in and get something to drink. Got to go pee.
And we had our 2 dogs with us. So we had to take them out and give them water. And I mean, so every stop was a half an hour. You could count on it. So, we get through the mountains.
We get Payson.
We get through the mountains in Payson, and it's like northern Arizona, like almost to the border of New Mexico. And we hit the first storm. And I'm leading. I don't like driving in storms. So that was quite the experience. We ended up pulling off like right after the first storm. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, I think I just pooped my pants. I need to change my shorts. It's bad. So then
it's raining so hard that the windshield wipers are doing nothing.
You can't
absolutely
see
nothing.
anything.
So yeah, and then it sucks, but we're okay. We just slow down.
Everything's fine. Everybody's just shaken up, but they're fine. And then we go through a second storm just outside of Gallup, between Gallup and Albuquerque. And that one, it was pretty dark out, and of course, we're going through construction because why wouldn't we be going through construction?
Yeah.
Of course, we've got to throw construction in there too. So I almost, I'm the lead car and I almost get sideswiped and knocked off the freaking mountain. So, we're trying, and by this time we're like, oh my God, what next? You don't want to voice what next because
don't say it.
Thank
God. But
so we finally get to the first stop, the first night, and it's like, what was it, 2:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning or something? Yeah. We had left at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon from Phoenix. Or from Chandler.
8-hour trip took us 12 hours to make it short.
Yeah. So we get to Las Vegas, fabulous Las Vegas, New Mexico,
which is I used to work for
One Main Street.
I'm a telecommunications guy and an IT guy. I think everybody pretty much knows that. But
Really? Dan IT guy's an IT guy?
yeah, believe it or not.
Really?
So
Oh.
I had basically lived in Las Vegas, New Mexico for what, 2 years?
Yes.
And
2.5.
We stayed at the same hotel all the time. So I knew the people pretty well, and I called them ahead of time and said, "Hey, we're going to be coming into town. We need to make sure we have a pet friendly room." And they said, "No problem. We'll get everything taken care of. Just let us know when you're on your way, if you're going to be late or whatever." So I had been calling them on the way.
We're going to be late.
We're going to be really late.
Just
really late.
Front. When you're making the
There's
reservation,
late check-in,
we're going to
and
be
then
late.
there's what we're going to do. And it's horrible. So we finally get to the hotel. We're all completely like drained. We we figure out we got to get some food. We go and get some food.
I don't think we even got food. We just went in and fell on the bed and fell
pretty
asleep.
much. I don't even.
But every single time that somebody walked past our room, which was right next to the door on the first floor, our dogs went crazy.
Yes.
So they started at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And mind you, we get there in
Dick's Liquors. Yes.
we get there at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And so we've got like 3 hours of sleep. So we're just like, screw it. Let's just get up, I think it was like 7:30. We finally just said, screw it. Let's get up and have some breakfast and get moving for the day. So back in the truck, and we decide Dan is calling, and he's calling ahead to Kansas City because that's going to be our next stop, and trying to make sure that the hotel is pet friendly. So of course it's not.
No, they have no pet friendly rooms anywhere.
Of course not. So change of plans. At the first stop that we made for that day, he said, okay, we're going to Topeka instead. So we've got to re-navigate, and go to Topeka instead. So get there. Pretty much didn't have any problems that day. I don't think, right?
Not too much.
So that was good.
Other than just being really freaking tired. I think it was about maybe 15 minutes out of Topeka, I started to do the snapshots where you're driving, and then all of a sudden you realize you're driving like, oh yeah, I'm driving. Shit. Okay, everything's fine. I'm passing the 26-foot truck I'm supposed to be behind.
No, that was the third day. That was the third day.
Was the third day.
No, the second day. No, I've got
they all run together.
I had our 18-year-old son with me in the car with the dogs. So he's looking over at, I keep looking over at him because I'm like nodding off, I'm trying to stay awake until we can get to the hotel, and just, okay, we've got 1 more hour to the hotel. I can do this. Let's just keep going. I look over and he's out cold. So I'm like slapping him, like, get up. Come on. You got to keep me awake, dude. So we finally get to that hotel at like 1 a.m. and our movers decided.
By the way, shout out to Mike.
Yes.
He helped the movers. He helped the whole time.
Strong kid.
Us yelling at him in the whole shot, going, no, it doesn't go there. It goes over, and then put this over. And he
was good.
He did really well.
He was really good. But we finally get to the hotel the second night at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and the movers decide they want to leave at like 4:30 in the morning. So we're like, okay, another night of 3 hours of sleep. That's fine. Whatever. It'll be our last day of driving. We can make it. It'll be fine. So we get up at 4:30 in the morning, walk out to the cars, no movers.
And the movers were the ones who were saying, we want to be up at 4:30 in the morning because we want to get there and we want to get everything unloaded. And and we're just like, okay, well, fine, whatever. So we'll get up at 4:30 in the morning. We get up at 4:30 in the morning. They're still sleeping. I'm like, great.
Dude, but why?
Oh, man. I had the perfect interjection and it froze.
Okay, back.
All right, there we go. You guys there?
Yep. I caught
You guys
it.
were looking for the movers. I interjected with a simple,
Dude, but why?
and it killed your connection. I'm sorry.
Awesome.
All right. Go ahead, continue.
So, yeah.
I end up going in.
No. Froze again. Son of a. Oh man, are you freaking kidding?
Now get your ass moving.
Come on, internet. All right, here we go. You're back.
Well,
All right, here we
It's
go.
not
Sorry,
the internet. It's the laptop. It's a pile of junk, and I can't wait to get a new one. But anyway,
here we go.
so where was I?
You had to go into the hotel.
I had to go in the hotel, and I end up having after we called them up, I don't know, 100 times. I went and pounded on the doors of the guys' hotel rooms. Nothing. These guys are not getting up, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I go to the front desk, and the guy was really nice. It was really cool. He had breakfast ready for us at like 4 a.m. because when we came in, I told him that we were going to be getting up, and it usually
very nice guy.
It usually doesn't open until 6.
Yeah.
So he ended up he got breakfast ready for us, and that was really cool. So we actually got some food, and went to the gas station, filled up.
Well, after the guys finally got
after the guys finally. So I end up getting a hold of one of the guys. They get the other people up. They finally get out to us, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And I'm like,
That's fine. Just get
we're
in the
all
truck.
beat.
Let's go.
So
it's fine.
I completely expected it. So finally, we all get in the trucks. We get gas. We leave Topeka, right?
Yes.
And we're headed
home.
We're headed.
So we
rest
have
of
to
the
go from Topeka through Kansas City into Missouri and up into Iowa,
Mm-hmm.
and then cross over the Mississippi into Illinois. So on the border of Missouri and Iowa, there's another storm.
Yes.
Of course.
And this time,
This one
we're
was the
driving
worst one
through like a
ever.
tunnel. There's a barrier on one side, a barrier on the other, and there's like barely enough room for us to fit. And I'm watching the truck
All these barrels
the whole time.
on
I'm
the
just
side.
like, oh my god. And actually, when we left Las Vegas, New Mexico, there was construction.
Yes.
And we're driving along, and the guy in the truck ahead of me, they had the big barrels out in the middle of the road.
That was in Iowa.
No, that was the day
sure?
after. Yep, that was the day after, because we were headed up to
He hit
Topeka.
barrels 2 days in a row?
No, just the once. So anyway,
All right.
he didn't have a choice. He ends up hitting a barrel. He hits a barrel and it flies.
Before he hit the barrel, though, he went off the road.
Yeah,
like
because he's
his
trying
wheels
to
went off
avoid
the road.
hitting the barrel.
And I'm looking at the back of the rear view mirror, and I'm like, "Oh my God, there goes our furniture." And Mike, our son looks over and he's like, "What about the driver?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, the driver, but oh my God, there goes our furniture." Like, oh my God, that's all we need.
Right?
Please no.
Oh. So we finally get into Iowa, and we get through Missouri and the tunnels.
Yes.
And it finally starts to like taper off. It's still raining a little bit, but it's not bad. It's, it's during the day at least. And we get to Brooklyn, Iowa. I'll never forget that. Brooklyn, Iowa. So we get to Brooklyn, Iowa, and we go to they end up by this time I'm leading, and these guys, they must have texted me or whatever, and I'm like completely out of it. And my dad had gone with us, and he's sitting in the passenger seat, and he and I at first were arguing with each other. And then I decided, we need to lighten this up a little bit, and I start joking with him. And then he starts joking, and then we were, joking back and forth. And I'm not paying attention to the trucks behind us. They got off on exit 219, and I'm going because they had said in the text that they wanted DEF, and the only place to get DEF was at a Love's gas station that was on 221. So they're texting me, basically laughing, saying, "Well, we got off with Tracy at 219. I don't know where you guys are going."
I called Dan and I'm like, "Hey, did you look in your rear view mirror and notice no trucks behind you? We all got off already." So, and
I'm like, "They don't have DEF there. You have to go to exit 221." So they finally end up making it all the way to 221. And we go to, fuel up the 26-foot truck and the 16-foot truck. I put my card in and get it ready to go. And I go to walk over. I walked over to the 16-foot truck and put my card in, and we start, I start the gas over there, and I go back, and Trey, was it you that no, it was D that noticed, right?
No, it was the other guy.
Okay.
Who noticed.
So one of the guys
one
notices
who was filling it up. He
that
noticed.
they're putting gasoline into a diesel tank. Okay. 17 gallons of gas into this diesel truck, and it's running. And I hear him say, "Oh God, I think I'm putting gas in," and I'm yelling, "Turn off the truck! Turn off the truck!" And he's looking at me like, "What? I don't know. Oh God, what do I?" And I just reach in and shut the truck off, and I'm like, "Oh my God. If we wreck this truck, it's like a brand new 26-foot Penske truck." I'm like, This is not going to be good. So I'm sitting there going, okay, I got every insurance, thank God, on this truck. So I get on and I get a hold of the what do you call it? The roadside assistance. And they said, okay, well, we'll call you back. We'll put you in line to get a call back. And it's going to be at least 35 minutes until you get a call back. And I'm like, what? Like, whatever. So I tell her, well, it's going to be 35 minutes. And she's like, well, we're getting close to home. I think I'm just going to, because the other two had to catch a plane.
The owner of the company and his wife had to catch a plane to go back to Phoenix that night. So I said, I'll just lead them back to Byron, and then I'll take them over to the airport, and they can get on the plane, they can go. And at least the truck will be at the house. So it'll be fine. You forgot the part where I almost got in the fight with the trucker on the side of the road.
Oh, tell that part.
Yeah. So
yeah, this is interesting. I'm way back.
We stop. This is in Iowa somewhere. I don't even know where. This is before we stopped and he put gas in the diesel tank. So we stop for this construction area, and I get out of the car because I'm the lead car still.
And there's a whole line of trucks and cars.
Yeah,
and
there's a whole line. So I walk up to where the little flag girl is, and I'm trying to ask her what's going on and how long we're going to be sitting there. And this trucker guy gets out of his truck and he's like, ma'am, you need to get back into your vehicle. And I looked at him and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not talking to you right now. You can get back in your truck now. I'm talking to her. So
let's just say our patience at that point was zero. There was no patience left.
So I'm still trying to find out from her what's going on. And, I said to her, I've got 2 dogs in the car and I don't want them to overheat. So, and the guy looks at me and he goes, turn your damn air conditioning on. And I'm like, sir, I'm not talking to you. Please stop. So again, I'm trying to talk to this little girl and he's like, you just need to be nice. You need to get back in your truck. And I'm like, sir, I am not freaking talking to you. So if I'm talking to you, I'll look at you and I'll talk to you, but I'm not talking to you. Get back in your goddamn truck. I'm not talking to you. So by this time, one of our movers came walking up, and this trucker guy walks up to him and he's like, you got an effing problem? And our mover's like, no, I'm just trying to find out what's going on. And so I start walking back to the cars with our mover, and I'm like, I look back at the trucker and I'm like, what are you, her effing bodyguard? And we just kept walking. So, I mean, it was just one thing.
It's honestly, it's good that I wasn't there.
Yes.
Because I probably would have just pounded on him.
Yeah.
I probably would have just knocked him out and moved his truck off the road and said, everybody go.
It's like we said, by this point, this is day 3
whatsoever
in the afternoon. I've got no patience, and I'm just not going to listen to some dumbass trucker guy talking to me and telling me what to do. I'm sorry, but I'm just not. Sorry. So after the whole DEF or the diesel thing, you know, is going on, I take the guys, I lead the owner of the company back to Byron. Easy trip. We go across the Mississippi River. Everything's great, except for the fact that he almost ran out of gas. He was like, and he's texted me saying, hey, is there a gas station nearby? Because I need to stop and get some gas. I'm like, I don't know. So we finally find a gas station, and he basically rolls in and on fumes, and we fill up his truck about halfway, I think, and then get back going another half an hour to our house. And then we drive them to the airport, and we sit at the airport for about 4.5 hours. I think it was about 4.5 hours.
So in the meantime, I'm dealing with this diesel or gas in the diesel. And I finally get a hold of the roadside assistance. They say, okay, well, we're going to send these people over to you. They're about a minute up the road. They should be there any minute. So about 10 minutes later, this guy shows up and he goes, so what happened? And I'm like, okay, they didn't tell you? And he's like, well, they told me something about, put gas into the diesel. How much did you put in there? And I said, well, if you look at the pump, you'll see how much. He's like, oh my God, you guys put $17 worth of gas in there? And I'm like, it wasn't exactly a well laid out plan.
Yeah.
So he's like, don't worry about it. He goes, I just have to go and get my pump, and we got to pump. We'll pump the fuel out of the truck, and then we'll refuel it. He goes over. He pulls the hood open and looks in and sees that there's no gas floating on the.
Oh, hold on. They're gonna reboot real quick. Their internet keeps, well, kind of like the trip. It ends up being.
Now Beaver has to take a bath.
Well, something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Fuck me.
Well, all right. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
You're good. Oh.
So the guy gets there. He tells us that he needs to.
Just waiting. Come on.
There we go.
So he tells us that he has to go back to his shop, which is right up the road, and get a fuel tank, basically, and this pump to pump the fuel and the gas, or the diesel fuel and the gas out of the tank. So he goes and he gets his stuff. He comes back, and he says it's going to be fine. He said we don't have to remove the tank or anything, because the person on the phone was telling me they might have to remove the gas tank. They might have to, and I'm just like, this is not good. So, so the guy gets there and he hooks up this pump, and it's got a little hose like this big. It takes maybe a half an hour to pump all the fuel and gas out of the truck. Then I have to completely refill the truck, $200 worth of diesel fuel. Fine. Who cares? As long as the truck runs and we're good, who cares? So
get it back on the road.
So I end up fueling up the truck, which is another probably 20 minutes. And we get back in. I get back in my car. He gets back in the truck. The truck's running good. Everything's fine. The guy leaves. And we take off. We start heading to Illinois. So we're completely out of our brains at this point. And I end up missing. I was going to go the back way, which she actually went the back way. And it's a lot faster. I end up going another way. But it all ends up in the same spot. It just takes a little longer. So she's sitting at the airport waiting for me to come there, because the truck is sitting at the airport in the paid parking. So I get there finally after 4 hours.
Of course, our 18-year-old is sitting there, Mr. Patience, and he's saying, well, how much longer is it going to be till Dan gets here? And I said, when you see the truck pull in the driveway or in the parking lot here, that's when he'll be here. I have no idea. I don't know when he's going to be here. Just lay your head back, take a little nap. You'll be fine.
So we end up, we
go back to his brother John's house, which is like 5 minutes from the airport. And
I had called ahead and got a hotel for the guys and, for the guys that were staying. And I kept calling him and telling him, hey, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, I'm still talking to the real estate agent. I'm talking to my mortgage specialist. I'm talking to like all these people the whole time.
And while this is going on, while we're
trying
driving,
to keep everything going.
while we're driving, we're finding out that the house here in Byron, the well water test didn't pass and the radon test failed. So we can't close when we couldn't close the day that we were supposed to close. So we had to wait and, wait a few more days. So we're like, all right. So I call his brother John and I said, all right, so it looks like we're not going to close on time. And before I could even ask the question, his brother John is amazing. And he said, you guys can stay with me as long as you need to. So we're like, all right, at least we're not going to be homeless. So that's a good thing.
Thank God.
And we talked to our realtor and she had gotten a hold of the former owners of our house. And they had agreed to allow us to put everything in the garage of the house, the new house. So I thought, all right, well, those things are coming together. So that's good. So we're set there. We have a place to stay. Our stuff can go somewhere. We're good.
So we get to John's house. It's,
I don't know, 10:30.
I don't even know what time it was. We end up ordering pizza and just hanging out for a little bit. And the guys are like excited to be in Illinois where the grass is green and where everything is. And they're like, oh my God, this is so cool. And my brother has a farm and they're like, oh man, we would stay here. We'd love to stay here. And I'm just like, okay. So I try calling the place back that I had got the hotel room at. And I'm like, listen, because they didn't answer. I had left a message and said, sorry, we're not going to make it. These guys we're going to end up staying the night here. And, so we don't need the hotel room. I said, just go ahead and charge me for the hotel room. It's fine.
I don't even care at this point.
At this point, I'm just like, it's water under the bridge at this point. So we end up getting the trucks to the house. They stay the night. The next morning we get up and drive to the house and we get everything unloaded into the garage.
Everything's good.
Takes them about 2 hours, probably 3 hours, something like that.
Probably, yeah.
And before they leave, we're like, I gave them some money. Here's a little extra in case you guys get into any issues. If you have any problems, give me a call because I'm the one that's on the rental agreement. So I need to know what's going on. So
this is Saturday. So I know, yeah.
Yeah, Saturday.
No, Saturday we came into town. So this is Sunday.
So
yeah, Sunday. Right. So Sunday the guys take off. They're heading back to Arizona.
They're pretty much planning on driving not straight through, but maybe one stop.
Yeah. So everything's fine. We find out from our realtor that, okay, the radon test was done over the weekend. It passed. The well water passed on Monday. So we're set for closing that Thursday. Everything's good. We're thinking, all right, things are falling into place. We can actually sleep. We can actually go to sleep and sleep and not have to worry. So was it Tuesday night?
Yep.
So that Tuesday night, we get woken up at 1 o'clock in the morning. And
it's the guys from the truck.
Yes.
And he tells me, the guy who called me said, we're in Payson,
Arizona.
We must have missed a sign to slow down or something. And we ended up getting pulled over. And the police officer wants to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So puts the police officer on the phone. The police officer says, hey, are you Mr. Bankston? I said, yes, I am. And he said, do you know these guys that are driving this truck that you rented? And I said, yes, I do. I said, they're the movers. They're for this particular, whatever the moving company is. So I'm like, okay. And he goes, were you aware that neither one of the guys that was in the truck has a driver's license?
Come on, children.
Just like,
I mean, really?
you can't make this up.
So we go outside. His brother has this little building that they call the man cave. So I said to Dan, let's go outside because everybody in the house is asleep. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Let's go outside and we'll just talk this out. So we go outside and we're figuring out that
I'm sitting there calculating this out on my phone. Okay, so if we have, when I talked to the officer, he told me, okay, we have to impound the truck.
they have to impound the truck because
They let the guys go, but
Yeah.
they have to impound the truck because
they
there's
actually
an Arizona rule.
towed the vehicle away and left the guys on the side of the road.
Yeah.
So we're figuring impound charges for 30 days.
Yes.
We're talking about
Late
charges for
not-
Penske
for not bringing the truck
for
back.
30
I mean,
days.
Like,
and then towing charges and then administrative fees. And I
fee
mean,
fees and whatever fees they can make up fees. You know how that goes.
fees.
Yeah.
And yeah. So Dan's freaking out. He's basically having a panic attack at this point. And
Because
I said,
I'm sitting here looking at $40,000.
$40,000.
It's going to cost us. I'm
40.
Like, this is
40.
This can't happen.
40.
This can't happen.
So I said, okay, there is a silver lining here because I always try to look for some kind of silver lining. Silver lining is this happened when the guys were on their way back to Arizona with an empty truck. This did not happen on the way to Illinois with all of our worldly goods in the back of the truck. So that's the silver lining. And he's like, yeah, right.
I'm like, yeah, that's not helping. So
No.
needless to say, I pretty much didn't get any sleep from the Wednesday that we left
Yeah.
until the next Wednesday that I actually end up calling. So the next morning I call and talk to the people in Payson and get a hold of the impound people. And I'm talking to the lady and she says, well, you're actually kind of lucky because the guys who were driving the vehicle did not own the vehicle. It's
loophole.
not a mandatory 30 days. So you can come and pick up the truck. You can come pick up the truck. I'm in frickin' Illinois. How am I going to go pick up this truck? So I'm like, fuck.
And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I guess you're taking a plane ride. I don't know.
So, and then she's like, well, the people from Penske can come pick up the truck. And I'm like,
Yay.
I really don't want to have to call Penske if I don't have to, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
So I call Penske. Penske actually was really cool. They were really cool about it. I was talking to the guy on the phone, and he actually made me feel a lot better. He said, well, there is a silver lining here. He said, one, we can go pick the truck up. He said, he said, I would assume that it's probably going to be about $1,000. And I'm like, okay, $1,000 I can deal with.
40? No.
40? No. $1,000 I can deal with. So we end up, I talked to the guy and I'm like, he's like, well, what we'll do is we'll go pick up the truck. It's no big deal. We'll pay the fees and then we'll just send you the bill and you can pay it. And I'm like, okay. Then I'm sitting there thinking, well, I'm just going to call the moving company and they're going to pay it. They're going to pay those fees because this is not my freaking fault.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I get a hold of Penske. They're cool. And I give them the report number. I give them all the information they need and awesome. They went and they go and pick up the truck and call me back. And it ends up, it's $475 instead of $1,000.
Yeah.
So it was like, thank God. So everything's looking up. We're looking good now. No.
And the moving company
We're not done
said they'll go ahead and reimburse us. So the moving company, like they really became family. Even though there was like the hiccup with the diesel and the hiccup with driving with no license, they really did become like family. They were awesome guys.
Yeah, it's one of those, these guys have a good heart.
Yeah.
You just know people,
They're good guys.
So I end up I got a hold of the guy, the main moving guy, and tell him what's going on. He's like, oh, thank God. He's like, well, I can send you the money and all this. And I'm like, well, don't worry about it right now. Let's, wait until everything's done.
Yeah.
We'll figure this out. So now we're at least we have that figured out.
Yeah.
So we're not going to close until
the following, that like 2 days later.
2 days later, Thursday or Friday?
Thursday.
I can't remember. So
Wednesday,
I go on to Wells Fargo and
better.
check my tracker. I'm laughing now, believe me.
Yes, we're laughing now.
Yeah. So
You have to.
I get on my Wells Fargo tracker. Everything's good. All of our docs are in. Fantastic. Awesome. No.
Nope.
I get a call the next day and they say, okay, there's an issue. And I'm like, well, what is it? Well, my wife had to keep her original last name because our kids were adopted by her parents. There's that's another
whole long story.
Whole long story. But
so it was just easier for me to keep my maiden name because the kids have that same last name. And so for signing them up for school and medical stuff and all that kind of crap, I just figured it's easier to keep my maiden name. So we went ahead and did that.
So the issue is Wells Fargo is saying, is this person going to be with you for the foreseeable future? Is it okay with your spouse who has a different name that you're going to put, your down payment on your house? And I'm just like,
so I basically had to say, yes, you can use the money for the house. So I can live there too. And I said to Dan, here's your opportunity. Are we going to be together for the foreseeable future? Because this is your opportunity, dude.
So I'm talking to, I call back Wells Fargo and I figure out that that we can go to another Wells Fargo basically. And
because we had to wire the money.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
So I freak out. I completely freak out. I'm working from home at her uncle's house because John's internet's not very good. So I'm over at his house and, they're very, very, very sweet people. Thank you to them. Huge thank you to them for, calming us down and bringing us in and saying, you're going to be fine. Everything's
fine.
Okay.
Everything's good. Keep praying through it.
So I finally come downstairs and everybody's outside. She's outside. And we're sitting there. We're going, okay, we got to figure this out because I've got to print. It has to be a wet signature on this document in order for it to be good. So I end up calling back my loan processor and saying, listen, what exactly do I have to write down? What exactly do I have to, and they send me this email that has all the information in there, put your name in here and print it out and both of you sign it. And then you can
just email it back.
So I'm like, okay. So she ends up saying, well, you know what? Just email me instead that stuff that you just said and or that you just typed out and I'll just send it in and it should be fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
no.
At this point, I don't trust this lady because about 2 weeks before that, she went on vacation and everyone that was in the mortgage company just kind of let my loan go to the wayside.
Didn't do anything with it.
Didn't do anything with it. So I had to go and
there were dust bunnies crawling all over it.
Oh,
that's how bad it was.
I had to go in and figure out, okay, I got to send all this stuff in and I figured out the insurance, do all this stuff. I get all that done. She tells me, okay, well, since we've been emailing back and forth, that your email should be as good as a signature. You should be fine. And I'm like sitting there thinking, I don't think that's going to work. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I print out this thing. We both sign it. And I'm like, we're bringing this shit to closing because as the way things have been going, I'm bringing it to closing.
Well, then they tell us too that we have to go to a Wells Fargo branch and do a wire transfer for the closing or for the down payment. There's no Wells Fargo close to us in Byron, Illinois.
It's 2 hours away.
It's like an hour.
Oh,
it's like Chicago.
It's Chicago.
So we had to drive into Chicago the next morning and do a wire transfer. So we get to Wells Fargo the next morning and it wasn't working. The wire transfer wasn't going through.
Wouldn't go through because they had an intermediary step that they had to go through, and the intermediary it wouldn't go through. So by
after like a half an hour, I'm like, can we just take a wheelbarrow full of pennies or something? I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous, and the mortgage lady was on the phone.
Yeah.
And not the mortgage lady, it was the closing lady.
Yes.
Said, you can also bring a cashier's check. And the lady that we were working with said, a cashier's check? Oh, well, that's really easy. Let's do that. And I'm like, oh my God.
Could have done that like a half an hour
Why didn't we
ago.
do that when we got here? I mean, is this your first time? What's going on here?
Oh my God.
So we go get the cashier's check finally and haul ass back to Byron because
we made it to closing 1 minute before the closing was supposed to start.
Closing starts at 1. We make it at 12:59. We're pulling into the parking lot. We go inside. Everything's fine. We fill out all the paperwork. We're like, oh, thank God, this is finally done. And the lady goes, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the transfers and
all the money.
All the money set up. All the money set up. So she goes and doesn't come back for quite a while. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So we're sitting there, we're kind of joking around, and she comes in and you can just see all the color in her face is gone. And I'm like,
oh
what
God,
happened?
What happened
I'm
now?
like, just tell me what happened. We'll get it taken care of. She goes, did you guys have some kind of paperwork that you had to fill out and send in order for the loan to go through? And I'm like, you have to be. I said, I pointed at my wife and I go, I freaking told you, didn't I? I told you. I said, yes, we have that paperwork.
I opened up my folder. Here you go. Here it is.
So she takes the paperwork. She goes in the other room. She's like, they took it. Everything's good. We're good. Oh my God.
Just give us the keys so we can go to our new house, please. Please, can we have the keys? Oh my God.
So yeah,
it's been smooth sailing since then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been good.
It's been great.
It's been awesome. Except for like a few broken things that, fell off the top of the truck, But stuff breaks when you move. So, oh well.
Okay. Is there anyone in the chat who doesn't go, holy crap, and I'm glad I'm not you?
And just understand, this is the short version. Okay.
But, like the whole time that we're going through all this stuff, every single time that something came up, we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, you know what? There has got to be some amazing thing that we're going to be doing in Illinois that we're being tested for, because for this much shit to happen with this move, there has got to be something, something really good that we're gonna be doing.
Yes,
and
ready to beat her to get the keys.
I know. And so we just kept grabbing onto each other every time something happened and just praying our way through it and trying to remain positive. That was the thing, trying to remain positive because, we sat there and continued laughing about things, continued trying to be positive the whole time, and that was what got us through it. That was hard. It was hard.
Really
it was really hard. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, Tracy is also a writer,
Yes.
and she is going to write a story about what happened.
Screenplay.
A screenplay. Who's going to play me?
Jack Black.
And Melissa McCarthy is going to play her. We already got this all figured out.
We've got the cast all set.
got-
Hopefully they'll agree to it.
We got Kevin Hart playing one of the movers. We got, it's just insane, all the things that we went through in 2 weeks of just chaos.
But we're in now, and the house, like, it's been just over, like, I think it's been 9 days that we've been in the house. Every box is unpacked.
We actually called some other movers and had them move the stuff from the garage into the house because our furniture's ridiculously heavy. And there was no way I was going to get in the house. So thank God they came, they took care of it. They were only here a couple hours and they just knocked it out.
It was crazy
Thank God
how fast
for them.
And so we've between me and Michael, our 18-year-old, we've been unpacking everything while Dan's been working and just trying to process got COVID.
that's it,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we've gotten every box unpacked. So if anybody needs moving boxes, we've got like 100 of them.
Oh, we have a ton.
And they're all broken down. Everything's good. Yeah. So it's good.
Yep.
Things are getting decorated.
I'm so glad there's a silver lining, meaning it's over at one point.
Oh God, yes.
Because good God, just being his brother and her brother-in-law, and my wife and I, every time the phone rang, we're like, what happened now?
Oh God, what happened now? What happened now?
Oh no,
what's going on
no
now?
more.
Oh shit.
No, they do not deserve any more. Oh my God.
Oh, no more Yankee, my wanky.
No, absolutely no more.
Hey.
Oh God.
That's all I can say right there.
We made it through.
Daily
We
grind
made it
sums
through.
it up right here. Y'all are tough for real. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Well,
Yeah.
You have
Unreal,
to be.
unbelievable.
Unreal.
it's took a lot of faith. That's
For
what it
sure.
took.
Oh yeah.
One of the things I wanted to say too is we are probably going to be starting a channel sometime here in the near future, and with a little help from Eric and
With a lot of help from Eric.
a lot of help from Eric. And we would love to invite, once we get everything set and ready to go, we'll definitely let all you guys know that we're going to be starting our channel. We've got a bunch of really cool stuff that we want to do. So just wanted to say that. Go ahead, Eric.
No, yeah, for sure, definitely, and that's yeah. That's
True
the
story.
short version, and the stories they have. Yeah, just I'll leave it at that. You'll want to tune in whenever this thing happens. As you guys know, I will be the champion of promoting the heck out of that because they've done so much for Destroyer 1320, and Dan and Tracy being a huge part of it, going to different race events and all the different stuff.
True.
And this is huge. Yeah, she's wearing a shirt right now.
I was gonna wear my Destroyer 1320 hat, but I've been sweating, so I'm like, I don't want to wear it because it's gonna get all sweaty.
69 Dark
Anyway.
Man. We just found out this house we're waiting to close on went to court. Oh my God.
No.
Woo!
Nice.
Wow.
Dude. Yeah, hope everything
Hey.
works out great for that.
At least he got 20 more days.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, you showed the judge your paperwork. Here's what you need to do if you ever get in that pinch, just for everyone on here. Here's how you show the judge your paperwork. Sorry. He's hitting the map. Oh, God.
Oh.
Let's see. Hate to be the bearer of bad luck, but there's a raccoon on the table behind me.
Oh, you
Oh,
mean
my God.
This is actually not our house. This is a green screen.
Yes.
Hey, before I forget, our father did leave a super chat, and this one has never been seen before. He gave $20, so here's $20 for you there, Dad.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
Love you, Pop. Thanks for
Wow.
coming with me and dealing with my bullshit.
Yes, thank you, Pop. We really appreciate your help.
It was awesome.
Good
It was much
Lord.
appreciated. We appreciate everyone that helped us out. I have to
Yeah.
say that. Everyone that helped us out along the way, from the people that loves to the guy who came and pumped the gas out of the diesel truck to
The moving company.
I mean, just everyone that stood in there and stuck with us and helped us through this.
Our realtor was amazing.
Our realtor was awesome.
She was right on top of everything. There were so many people that really became angels in our lives, and really helped to bless us. And
the investor,
the investor guy
that bought our house, the lady that bought our house said, you need as much time as you need.
Yeah.
Just let me know when you're good. And, she said, I'm not going to be going into the house right away. I'm going to go in and have some people do a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
So, she didn't charge us anything.
There were throughout this whole process,
huge thank you to her for that.
Yeah. Throughout this whole process, it was really hard to get through it. But the really good thing is that we were able to see the angels that were around us,
Well, and that's what we all have to look at in life is the positive side. If there's anything I've learned from just watching with my breath held and my wife, watching you guys deal with this, is that it's all going to work out at the end. I mean, everything in this world right now is upside down, and we'll all figure it out. But no, it's once again, blessings to have family, and once again, appreciate everyone who got a chance to watch us. We're almost an hour and a half here, and I'm going to wrap this up because I've not eaten since, I don't know. But there will be more, and anyone who wants to see more of this, please let me know. If their channel has not been up and running by then, I will do separate videos just on Dan and Tracy, Dan and Miss IT Guy. We'll definitely have to do more of this coming in the future. Appreciate everyone who has supported us for all the super chats, everything like that. Wow, what a night. What a story. There is, like I said, you cannot make this shit up. You just absolutely unreal. And until next week, which we'll see, but it looks like we may have Mill Creek Fab on, which I will tell you right now, if you don't know who that is, I was on a live stream with this guy. You will pee yourself. He is the funniest dude I've probably met on the planet. And there's a whole story on that as well. But until next week, we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you guys.
Love you so
Thank
much.
you
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting us. And, anything that we can do to try to help people out, that's what we'd like to do. So keep us in mind.
Hit us up.
If you end up coming out to the Byron Dragway on October 3rd for the Power Wheel Standing competition.
October 2nd.
I thought it said that. I want to say the paper said the 3rd, but anyway, the 2nd or the 3rd, whatever it is. If you come out for the Power Wheel Standing competition, I definitely am going to be there. I think Eric's going to be there. And I'm sure Tracy will be there. We'll probably all be there. And just come hang out. We'll put up a tent and figure it out.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Come out and hang out, because we are what you get. I mean, this is who we are. And
Yep.
at the end of the day, we love having some fun. So once again, appreciate everyone. Salute until next Tuesday. We'll see you on the next one. Until then,